What's up, guys? My name is Ty Zen. Welcome to our cryptocurrency.market channel. We are a trading, investing, and entrepreneurship channel in the blockchain space, or any space that allows us to make money. Okay, I'm broadcasting from my fishing village where I was born in southwest Vietnam called Son Doc, and it's in the I'm broadcasting from the house, my mom's house, in the village here, and this is where I was originally born before I left Vietnam as a refugee, and ended up in America. Worked in the fruit and vegetable fields over there, worked in the sweatshops in America, worked in the ship docks in America, and then lived in the ghettos, you know, and got the American dream, became financially free thanks to crypto, and then now I'm back in my village again to help my mom and my family. And okay, so in this video, guys, I want to drink some coffee with you guys and talk about what the OTC orders and the OTC trades. Okay, I'm going to talk about what an OTC trade is. I'm going to talk about its history, and then I'm going to talk about how it's being done today in the crypto market, why it's important, and all those things, okay? And how to get involved if you need an OTC order filled, who and where, and the people that you would want to get it from, okay? So, there's a few things, okay? First of all, the history of OTC trades, okay? So, back in the days in the US, okay, the major exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange, which is in the city of New York, or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is in the city of Chicago, those are the two major places where most of the trading was done in America and in the world, okay? So in those places, you would have what's called an area that would trade one specific product. So there would be an area which they would call the pits, okay? And in this pit, where it's kind of sunken into the ground, and sometimes it's above the ground, okay, by a few steps, right? It's just to designate that that's the area. And in this particular area, they would trade corn. In another pit, they would trade wheat. In another pit, they would trade stocks. In another pit, they would trade oil. In another pit, they would trade different products, okay? And in these pits, there would be one person that stands in the middle, and this person is the person who takes the buy orders and sell orders and then swaps them and makes it happen, okay? And this middleman makes his money from a cut, the transaction fees that he gets from both sides, okay? And his responsibility is to create an orderly market, all right? So in the Chicago exchanges, they would be often referred to as like a market maker, okay? In the New York Stock Exchanges, they would be referred to as the specialists, if I remember those correctly, okay? And this middleman, if I wanted to put an order in to buy a certain amount of corn, then I would give him the order that I would want to buy so many bushels of corn or wheat, and then he would look around the guys that's standing around the pit, and he would announce that, you know, there's an order here to buy so much, and then somebody else that would have it would let him know that, hey, I got an order, I want to sell so much corn, and then he would make the swap for us, okay? And that was it. Now, some of the people happens to be talking on the exchange floor. They would walk around and they would find other people, and if you and I met each other on the exchange floor and we wanted to buy and sell some corn or some wheat, we would just go over to the trading counter and we would fill out the paperwork and the documents that's needed, and we would make the trade right there over the counter. So we would just go to the trading counter, fill out the paperwork, I sign it, you sign it, and then the trade is done. And then we hand in the paperwork to the exchange, and they process the contracts that we traded, okay? And we didn't have to go to the pit to waste time or to be charged extra for the transaction fees from that middleman, the specialist or the market maker, okay? Now, it was not just a savings on the transaction fees to reduce the transaction fees. There were other benefits also, because if you and I made the trade over the counter and not in the trading pits, okay, It was more of a private trade, so nobody around the pit would know about it. So you and I can make that transaction, and it would just be private. Okay. The more accurate term for this type of OTC trade nowadays, when somebody does it in the cryptocurrency space, the more accurate term to describe an OTC trade would be, it should be labeled a off-exchange trade. And the reason why it's off-exchange is because the exchange does not know about it, the volume does not get reported on the exchange, and it's private, okay? So, and when I say private, that means it's privately between one individual and another individual, okay? So from my very, very limited understanding, and just full disclosure, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a licensed attorney or anything like that, but my understanding is that as long as you and I make a trade privately, it should be okay, you know, that you and I can buy and sell it, just like we buy and sell baseball cards or make a private transaction and buy and sell a car or something like that, okay? So one of the things that the OTC trades allows us to do is that there's more privacy in it, and we do not disrupt the market. If I go to the trading pits or to the exchanges and I announce that I want to buy, you know, 1,000 Bitcoins or 100 Bitcoins or something like that, it's going to be very disruptive to the market, because people are going to see that order pop up on the Coinbase exchange or Gemini or Binance or anything like that, and it's going to be very difficult not to disrupt the market. So a lot of people like to use OTC trades because they're private and nobody knows about it except for the two people that made that trade. There are some big names in the OTC cryptocurrency OTC business. The biggest one that most people use is called Cumberland Mining. Even though their name says mining, they are actually an OTC trade desk, and they have offices in Chicago and they have offices in Singapore, and I think they now just opened offices in London. Okay, so we use them every time we need to make a big order. Like when we first started using them, they were $50,000 an order, okay, a minimum. So anytime you buy some Bitcoins or anything like that, it's a $50,000 minimum. And then we started introducing some of our clients, some of our cryptocurrency investing blueprint and cryptocurrency investing bootcamp clients to them to get their orders filled. And then at one point, I think sometime in 2017, they told us that they had raised a minimum to $100,000, okay? And so anytime somebody wants to buy some Bitcoins or anything from them, or any kind of altcoin or anything, or sell it to them, they require like a $100,000 minimum, okay? So at that time, it prompted us to reevaluate the needs in the market, because we knew a lot of people that wanted to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, but they did not want to buy and sell them in $100,000 chunks or bigger. A lot of people we know just wanted to sell like, you know, like $20, $30, $40, $50,000 chunks at a time. And so that's where we started hiring some securities lawyers to go out there into the market and help us get the proper legal structure and documentation, registration, or whatever it takes, so that we can start running an OTC, operating an OTC trade desk, okay? So if you guys want to learn more about our OTC trade desk, you're welcome to go to Taifu, that's Taifu .exchange, and that's where our Taifu OTC trade desk is at, okay? And it's it's a Whitegloves Service OTC desk where we fill orders for people. And I think that the minimum that we're doing right now is like $25,000 per order. And so if it's somebody that we know really well, then it might be, you know, like 20,000, but I don't see the need to go below that, because anything below that, it's just a waste of our time and effort to set up the trade. So normally the way that an OTC trade desk works, and this is how we do it, and this is how pretty much all the OTC trade desks work, is that if you wanted to trade with us or with Cumberland or with Genesis or with any of those people, what would happen is that you would have to go through a whitelisting process, a KYC AML KYC process. That's where we check to make sure you're not a terrorist or a drug dealer or wanted by the FBI for financial crimes or anything like that. And once the KYC and the AML process comes back and it shows that you're good to go, then what we would do is we would whitelist a Bitcoin, Ethereum, or altcoin address that you want to do, which means that we will send you a small amount of like 10, $5-10 worth of Bitcoins and to the address that you gave us. And then once you receive that amount, then we would have you, that confirms that we sent it to the correct address. But then before we make any transactions or any OTC trades, what we will do is we'll have you confirm that you actually have control of that account. So we'll have you send some of it back to us so that we can confirm it. And we'll do that a couple of times just to double check and make sure and document that you have control of that account. So when we actually do the trade, we can send the Bitcoins, the Ethers, or the altcoins to you guys. And then that way we know that you guys receive it at the correct address, and then you have control of the funds once you guys receive it, okay? Now, a lot of these OTC trades, the way that it works is that nobody knows about them except for the two people that's involved. So if you make a trade with us, let's say that you buy 100 Bitcoins from us, the only people that know that is you and us, okay? And for privacy reasons, most OTC desks that are reputable like ourselves, we are not going to reveal that to anyone, unless there's like a court subpoena or a government subpoena from a law enforcement that issues a subpoena, and then our lawyers review it, and then it's legit. Then we will provide whatever information that the law enforcement or the government needs, But unless somebody provides to our lawyers the proper documentation to request the information from our clients, we are not going to reveal that because that's private and confidential matter, okay? So once we make the trade with you, we do not broadcast the volume out to the rest of the world. So nobody knows that these trades are happening. So whatever volume that we are doing right now, nobody really knows. Whatever volume that Genesis is doing or whatever volume that Cumberland is doing, nobody really knows, okay? So I want you guys to be aware of that. So right now, the market has tanked from 850 billion market cap at all-time highs to now it's somewhere around the 200 billion market cap. So it's dropped tremendously, right? And a lot of people are worried and a lot of people are scared, but what they don't realize is that the OTC market is much more mature today than it was a year ago or 2 years ago or even 4 or 5 years ago. So right now there's a lot of orders that's going on in the OTC market that nobody knows about. Okay, so whatever volume of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that you see that's being traded on on CoinMarketCap.com, that volume is not going to be 100% accurate. Or any place like CryptoCompare.com or anything like that. None of those places are going to report accurate volume because they do not include the large number they don't report the large number of OTC trades or off-exchange trades that's being done that no one knows about, okay, except for the two parties that's involved. For example, I think it was when we were researching the taxtoken.io tax software, when we were looking to buy equity into that software project, I know that those guys asked us if we knew anybody that could fill like $7 to $8 million worth of Bitcoins for somebody they knew, okay? And at that time, we were not registered properly to do that, so we couldn't do that, okay? But and then later on, I think like a few months ago, I got an order from one of my trading friends in the stock market. He's a traditional stock and futures trader, and he had some friends that asked him in Chicago if he knew anyone that could fill a like $400 or $500 million Bitcoin order, okay, for $400 or $500 million worth of Bitcoin, okay. Now, I don't know if that was true or not. I did not fill any of that order for them. Okay, I would have been happy to do that for them if they needed that. It'll take a few months, but I would have been very happy to fill that order for them, okay? But it never came through, it never finalized, so we don't know, okay? But what I'm saying there is that there are people out there looking for these large volumes of cryptocurrency that we don't know about. And the reason why they're not going to a place like Coinbase or Gemini or places like that to buy it is usually because they need a large volume and they don't want the public to know about it, and they don't want to disrupt the Bitcoin price or the altcoin price as they are trying to buy in, okay? Now, those are the huge advantages of using an OTC. Oh, there's another thing too I forgot to mention, is that when you call us, our OTC desk at taifu.exchange, or if you contact us at the Cumberland or at Genesis or any of these OTC, any of these popular OTC desks, usually when you call in, we agree on a price, okay? Like, let's say if whatever the price is that we agree on, usually we give you to the end of the working day, like till 5 p.m. to fill that order. In other words, like if you call us and you say, hey, I want 10 Bitcoins, or I want $25,000 worth of Bitcoins, or $50,000 worth of Bitcoins, and we say, okay, we've already went through the KYC AML process, and we went through the whitelisting process. Usually we give you until the end of the day, the working day, to send us the Bitcoins. And once you send us the Bitcoins, then we'll send you the US dollars, or vice versa, okay? So that is a huge advantage, because a lot of times when somebody wants to unload like 100,000 or $1 million or $2 million or $5 million worth of Bitcoins, they don't want to disrupt the price, and they don't want to sit there all day to get their order filled and buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoins at a time, or $5,000, $10,000 worth of Bitcoins at a time, okay? So an OTC trade desk orders are usually used by big traders, by whales, and it's also used by people who they just want some privacy. They just they just don't want the rest of the world to know that they're making the trade, or they're being used by professionals. Like, we run into a lot of professionals like lawyers, CPAs, accountants, doctors, and things like that, that they don't have time to go out there, set up an account. They just want to know how to buy some Bitcoins from somebody that's reliable, right? So, and that they can trust, and then and that's how we do it, okay? So one of the things that is different about our OTC trade desk is that we have two services. One is just we do the regular OTC desk, and depending upon what the market price is, right? You can expect, and this is not just with us, this is with all the OTC desks, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's usually like a 1 to 3, sometimes 5% markup on the OTC orders, okay? Simply depending upon how volatile the markets are. And then on the altcoins, there's usually a 3, 5, up to 20, 30%, 50% markup on those orders, because the volume is much less, and it's not a very liquid, especially for the very low liquidity coins. You can expect to pay a higher markup for that. So one of the things that our OTC desk is a little bit different from the like a big OTC desk like Cumberland or Genesis, is that we have more of a white glove service, meaning that we interact with the clients directly. So a lot of the professionals like doctors, lawyers, CPAs, engineers, they just prefer to go through us. So we have what's called a preloaded ledger service, and with our preloaded ledgers, we actually fill it with the amount of Bitcoins that the clients want, and we just ship them the ledger. And we have a specific process that we go through to load those ledgers with the Bitcoins. And then once the client decides to sell it later on, they just send the ledgers back to us, and then we check. And once we can retrieve the Bitcoins from the ledgers, then we send them the US dollars or whatever currency they want, okay? Right now we're doing it mostly in US dollars, but in the future we plan to expand on doing more currencies, okay? So the markup on the white glove service is significantly higher, but it's a lot less headache, a lot less painful once somebody goes through the KYC AML process with us. And the KYC is know your customer, and the AML is the anti-money laundering. That's that's U.S. law. They require us to check to make sure that the clients are not drug dealers and laundering drug money, or not terrorists and things like that. So just get with me if you guys are interested. You can go to the taifu.exchange and get more information. We do not have a lot of information on that on the website at the moment, simply because most of the people that do the OTC orders with us, they know who we are. We've been broadcasting. We're one of the first and the oldest cryptocurrency trading and investing channels on the market. So a lot of people know us already. So when they contact us, they know that we have a good reputation and we stand by what we say and what we do. And so we don't have a lot of information there, and we prefer that the people that know us contact us for the OTC orders and not just random people that are new to our channel at the moment, okay? So let me see. Oh, the other question that I keep getting from people is that how are the OTC orders affecting the market, okay? One of the ways that the OTC orders is affecting the market is that it's not creating a lot of volatility. So if you want to buy like $100,000 or $1 million worth of Bitcoins, it's a lot easier to go through an OTC desk, because you can make the call, agree on the price, and it's all done on a gentleman's agreement, okay? This is one of the few places where your word has a lot of weight, you know, and once we agree on the price, then it's once the customer sends it in, then we fill the order, or one of the OTC desks fills the order, and we go from there. And you don't have to worry about the price, you know, jumping up and down 5, 10, 20% after you put the order in, okay? So I hope that I have given a good explanation of what an OTC order is, and what it is, how it works, the history of it, and how some of the big players, including how some of the big players are using the OTC desk. Some of the popular OTC desks, such as Cumberland Mining, such as Genesis Trading, and then now, you know, with our Taifu.exchange, we're running an OTC desk as well that's more focused on white glove service for professionals who want to invest into the cryptocurrency space, but they don't have the time to go do all the research, the security research, and do all that stuff to make sure it's done correctly. So we do it for them, put it on the ledgers, and send it out to them, okay? So the other thing too is this. In my opinion, it's a good thing that we have OTC orders and trade desks for the big traders and the people who want privacy and the people who just want to fill big orders and not be noticed by the markets, so it doesn't create volatility in the markets. So one of the reasons why we got a lot of price spikes or drops in cryptocurrencies right now is because we got a lot of amateur traders that don't know how to fill a large order, so they run out to the exchange and they just dump all their coins all at once, and that's what causes that huge drop, or they buy it all at once, and that's what caused that huge spike, and then the price goes back down to normal. So if they went through an OTC desk like us or like one of the other ones I mentioned, then they would not create that disruption in the market, okay? So the downside with the OTC orders that I want to mention also is that we don't really get an accurate volume of how much is being traded. There's really no way to tell, and there's no law or anything that's required for the OTC desk to report the trading volume like they do with the exchanges, because it's a private trade. And when I say that it's a private trade, what I mean is that when you go through like somebody like Coinbase, they have to hold your money, and then every time you make a trade, you tell them where so you give them instructions. Basically, when you put an order in through the Coinbase platform, you're basically, quote unquote, sending them an email telling them, hey, buy me this amount of Bitcoins, or sell this amount of Bitcoins for me, and they take your funds, they control it, and they go and do that. With an OTC desk like with us, we are never in control of your funds. right? We don't hold your funds until you want to buy or sell a cryptocurrency. We make the transaction over Skype, so we see each other in person and to confirm it's the correct person. And then once the order is made, then we process the transaction after the funds are received. Okay, so I hope that this video answers all the questions that you may have about an OTC trade or an OTC desk. And if you have any other questions or comments about it, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll answer it as best I can in a future video. So thanks for watching this video, guys. And if you guys like it, give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you guys go to our channel and subscribe to our newsletter. It's at www.cryptocurrency.market/newsletter. If you are serious about trading and investing and serious about learning how to be a better cryptocurrency trader, investor, and just an all-around better trader, period, I highly recommend that you guys go check out our cryptocurrency blueprint. It's at www.cryptocurrency.market/blueprint, and you can check it out there. Get you a copy of it so you learn how to do it correctly and not waste time trying to figure it out.